shoulder to shoulder, fair to say. No cracks at all, really. A pretty unanimous group of EU foreign ministers there assembled in Paris, fair to say.
Yeah, and both Josep Borrell and Minister Le Drian were very, very keen to stress that during that press conference, because that's not always been the case. Russia is a subject that has really divided EU countries. You have those EU countries that are close with Russia historically, like Greece and Cyprus, Italy to an extent. Then you have countries like Germany, which are very hesitant to take a bold foreign policy move. So this really showed just how much Russia has crossed a red line here, that even Hungary, there was questioning over whether Hungary would go along with these sanctions, and I'm told there was never any doubt from Budapest they would sign on to this first package of sanctions, and that was really an emphasis today, that this is the first package. Borrell kept repeating that the EU has an arsenal of possible sanctions, and this is just the start. Should Russia go further, that there's more in store. These sanctions that were announced today are very similar to those that were just announced in the US by President Biden. They also target individuals responsible for the decision. They block the Russian state's access to financial markets in Europe. They also target banks that are funding the Russian military, and they forbid any business with those two breakaway regions, although it doesn't seem like there was any American or European business there to start with. So it's clear that this was coordinated not just among EU members, but also with the allies, with the US, with Canada, with the UK. Everyone seems to be on the same page. The question is whether that will hold going forward, both within the EU and within the NATO alliance.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the trump cards all along has been, and I know there's been disquiet about this on both sides of the Atlantic, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And it was announced today that project, a multi-billion-dollar project, which would see Russian gas pumped into Germany, is going to be put on hold. I mean, do you think there was an element of surprise amongst the EU foreign ministers that Germany went as far as it did? Because there had been, some reluctance, I think it's fair to say, on the part of Berlin to come down on the side of halting that project.
Yeah, there was real surprise about that, because Olaf Scholz all along has resisted even saying that he would cancel the pipeline in the event of a full-scale Ukraine invasion. So for Germany to do this just after the announcement of the recognition of the two breakaway republics really did catch people off guard. But it was widely welcomed, especially from the members of the EU that have been asking for this for so long in Eastern Europe, and of course from Washington. And Borrell, at that press conference in Paris a couple hours ago, went out of his way to thank Germany for doing that. Even he looked surprised by the decision. The question is, though, was that one of the things that the EU should have held its firepower to discourage Putin from taking further action? That was a big one, because if Germany is willing to do that, it is a big line to cross in terms of showing the willingness of the EU to act on sanctions. There are certainly people who say that actually this was really necessary today to show that even Berlin is very serious about getting tough here. But on the other hand, what's left? Some of the things that are left are the suspension of Russian companies' access to the SWIFT banking system. That could still deter Putin from acting further. And then, of course, you have possible sanctions on Putin himself. Putin is not on this list of individual sanctions. It's, I believe, 34, something in mid-30s in terms of members of the Duma who authorized this decision, and then 27 individuals and entities outside the Duma. That list could certainly be broadened, and it could be broadened to Putin himself. And then, of course, they could target the Russian oligarchs. Countries did not go that far today, targeting the Russian oligarchs who fund Putin's regime, who have money swashing around London and all over Europe. So there's a lot further that the EU and the UK, US could go. They haven't gone yet, so there's still a lot more left. And I think all of the leaders, including Biden just now, have been really keen to stress that this is just the start of sanctions if Russia goes further. And in particular, if they cross that line between what has pretty much already been held by Russian forces, just not in Russian uniforms up until now, and what has been held by Ukrainian forces. If the Russian forces cross that line, then surely that next round of sanctions will kick in.